His partner cut the rope and left him for dead. One man fell into a hole in the mountain. His partner left him for dead, and somehow he crawled back anyway. This is the most epic story you've never heard. Joe Simpson was 25 years old. He had been obsessed with mountains since he was a kid in the Scottish hills. Simon Yates was only 21. He was one of the best young climbers in all of Britain at 21 years old. The two met at a climbing club and immediately hatched a plan. They wanted to climb Sula Grande. Not the normal way, though. The West Face had never been climbed. Every team that tried had turned back. Joe and Simon said, "Challenge accepted." They flew to Peru with one other person. Richard Hawking would man the base camp. They would carry everything themselves. No porters, no Sherpas, no rescue plan. If something went wrong, there was absolutely nobody to call. June 1985. They start the climb. The West Face rises nearly 5,000 feet. Every move had to be perfect. One slip and you were finished. They climbed for 3 days straight. The weather was brutal. But they kept going, always up. On the third day, the summit was close. The summit was right there above them. Joe Simpson stepped onto the summit. Nobody had ever done it before. They were on top of the world. But the descent, that's where it went wrong. Then Joe's foot punched through the snow. He slid, he tumbled, he slammed into the slope and stopped. He looked down at his right leg. His kneecap had been driven up through his femur, completely shattered. At 20,000 feet, with no rescue possible, a shattered knee is a death sentence. Every textbook said, leave him. There was no way to get a broken man down 5,000 feet of ice. Simon Yates did not leave him. Simon came up with a plan. He would lower Joe down the mountain, 300 feet at a time, over and over, in a blizzard, in the dark, hour after hour. For hours they made it work. But they were making it. They were descending. Simon felt the rope go tight. Then, nothing. Joe had stopped moving. Joe had gone over an unseen cliff edge. He was dangling in mid-air, above a hidden crevasse. He couldn't reach the ice wall. He couldn't climb up. He couldn't go down. Above him, Simon couldn't see anything. He just felt the rope, pulling him down. For an hour, Simon held. His snowseat was breaking apart. Both men were going to die. Unless Simon did something. Simon reached for his knife. He held the rope in one hand. He thought of Joe, his friend. Then he put the knife to the rope and cut it. Joe fell into the dark. The rope went slack. Simon sat there in the blizzard. He had killed his best friend. Nobody could survive that fall. He had fallen 100 feet. Simon descended alone in the dark. He walked back to camp. He told Richard what happened. They waited. They looked. Nothing. Joe Simpson was gone. Meanwhile, inside the crevasse, Joe Simpson was not dead. He was inside a blue and green world. He had landed on an ice ledge. Pure chance, pure luck. He had a shattered knee. No rope, no food, no water, no radio. He looked up at the distant light. The options were stay and die, or climb toward the light. He chose the light. With a shattered knee and no rope, he somehow climbed out of the crevasse. He collapsed on the glacier above. He lay in the snow, exhausted. His knee was destroyed. He could not walk. So he crawled, hands and knees, 5 miles. He mapped every yard in his mind. 3 days. The glacier ice tore up his hands. His broken knee dragged on the rocks. The sun beat down. No water. He began to hallucinate. A song got stuck in his head. Brown Girl in the Ring by Boney M. A disco pop song. In his head. On repeat. He used it to count his crawling. Pick a rock. Crawl to it. Pick another.
Just the next rock. Just this crawl. The second night fell. He thought he might not wake up. He woke up. Third day, still crawling.
He was hallucinating freely now. His hands were leaving blood on the rocks. He didn't notice anymore. Back at base camp, they were packing. They had waited 3 days. Simon could barely eat or sleep. The guilt was destroying him. They planned to leave the next morning. Joe smelled the camp before he saw it. He screamed. Nothing. He screamed again. At base camp, Simon froze. He thought he heard a voice. He ran into the dark. His headlamp found the figure. Joe was alive. He was delirious, barely conscious. Simon was crying. He had been sure he'd killed his friend. Then Joe spoke. "You did the right thing." They got Joe into camp. He was alive. Barely. They got him down to civilization. Doctors were astonished he was alive. Back home, the mountaineering world had a verdict on Simon Yates. He was a coward. He was shunned by many in the community. Then Joe Simpson started writing. He called the book Touching the Void. It sold millions of copies worldwide, one of the greatest adventure books ever. In 2003, it became a BAFTA-winning film. The film vindicated Simon Yates. Joe Simpson climbed again. Both men lived. Both men climbed. Against every single odd. The mountain did not win. The most epic mountain escape in history. 2 young men did. Because some escapes you have to earn, one rock at a time.